The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. War does not determine who is right, only who's left. Do not fear to be eccentric in opinion, for every opinion now accepted was once eccentric. Freedom is the only condition for happiness, if in fact it is attainable. Science is what you know, philosophy is what you don't know. The good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. To fear love is to fear life, and those who fear life are already 3 parts dead. It is the preoccupation with possessions, more than anything else, that prevents us from living freely and nobly. Of all forms of caution, caution in love is perhaps the most fatal to true happiness. One of the symptoms of an approaching nervous breakdown is the belief that one's work is terribly important. To teach how to live with uncertainty, yet without being paralyzed by hesitation, is perhaps the chief thing that philosophy can do. Life is nothing but a competition to be the criminal rather than the victim. The secret to happiness is to face the fact that the world is horrible, horrible, horrible. The time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Fear is the main source of superstition and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. Mathematics, rightly viewed, possesses not only truth, but supreme beauty. Many people would sooner die than think. In fact, they do so. No one can sit at the bedside of a dying child and still believe in God. Man is a part of nature, not something contrasted with nature. The demand for certainty is one which is natural to man, but is nevertheless an intellectual vice. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. The most savage controversies are about matters as to which there is no good evidence either way. Work is of 2 kinds. First, altering the position of matter at or near the Earth's surface. Second, telling other people to do so. The first is unpleasant and ill-paid. The second is pleasant and highly paid. In all affairs, it's a healthy thing now and then to hang a question mark on the things you have long taken for granted. Patriotism is the willingness to kill and be killed for trivial reasons. Anything you're good at contributes to happiness. Men are born ignorant, not stupid. They are made stupid by education. Both in thought and in feeling, even though time be real, to realize the unimportance of time as the gate of wisdom. One should respect public opinion insofar as is necessary to avoid starvation and keep out of prison, But anything that goes beyond this is voluntary submission to an unnecessary tyranny. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom, in the pursuit of truth as in the endeavor after a worthy manner of life. People who are vigorous and alive are always difficult and usually prickly. They do not recognize the sacredness of middle-class conventions. 3 passions, simple but overwhelmingly strong, have governed my life: the longing for love, the search for knowledge, and unbearable pity for the suffering of mankind. Most of the greatest evils that man has inflicted upon man have come through people feeling quite certain about something which, in fact, was false. The point of philosophy is to start with something so simple as not to seem worth stating, and to end with something so paradoxical that no one will believe it. Every increase of knowledge brings some increase of power. Love is wise, hatred is foolish. It is desirable to be both loved and respected, but it is more difficult to achieve both than most people suppose. Our great democracy still tend to think that a stupid man is more likely to be honest than a clever man. Indignation is a summation of our thoughts, but not of our desires. Most people would die sooner than think. In fact, they do so. Religions which condemn the pleasures of sense bribe men to seek the pleasures of power. Throughout history, power has been the vice of the ascetic. It is because modern education, so seldom inspired by a great hope, that it so seldom achieves great results. Contempt for happiness is usually contempt for other people's happiness, and is an elegant disguise for hatred of the human race. To be able to fill leisure intelligently is the last product of civilization. One of the signs of an approaching nervous breakdown is the belief that one's work is terribly important and that to take a holiday would cause the universe to collapse. Every man desires to live long, but no man wishes to be old. The infliction of cruelty with a good conscience is a delight to moralists. That is why they invented hell. I would never die for my beliefs because I might be wrong. The fundamental cause of the trouble is that in the modern world the stupid are kosher, while the intelligent are full of doubt. It's easy to fall in love. The hard part is finding someone to catch you. A happy life must be, to a great extent, a quiet life, for it is only in an atmosphere of quiet that true joy dare live. A life lived in the womb of the masses is beautiful yet tragic. Italy and the spring and first love all together should suffice to make the gloomiest person happy. A clear and logical mind in all respects is an advantage so exceedingly important that it cannot be overrated. There is much pleasure to be gained from useless knowledge. The fundamental concept in social science is power, in the same sense in which energy is the fundamental concept in physics. We are faced with the paradoxical fact that education has become one of the chief obstacles to intelligence and freedom of thought. Admiration of the proletariat, like that of dams, power stations, and airplanes, is part of the ideology of the machine age. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct and tends to produce ferocity toward those who are not regarded as members of the herd. We are apt to forget that children are not going to remain children for long. The whole of childhood is but a moment in life to be filled with pleasure and delight. Every great idea starts out as a blasphemy. Men who are unhappy, like men who sleep badly, are always proud of the fact. If there were in the world today any large number of people who desired their own happiness more than they desired the unhappiness of others, we could have a paradise in a few years. The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation, and the first step towards cooperation lies in the hearts of individuals. The fact that an opinion has been widely held is no evidence whatever that it is not utterly absurd. The life of man is a long march through the night, surrounded by invisible foes, tortured by weariness and pain towards a goal that few can hope to reach, and where none may tarry long. Advocates of capitalism are very apt to appeal to the sacred principles of liberty, which are embodied in one maxim: the fortunate must not be restrained in the exercise of tyranny over the unfortunate. When you want to teach children to think, you begin by treating them seriously when they are little, giving them responsibilities, talking to them candidly, providing encouragement, and never talking down to them or pandering to their egos. All the labor-saving devices ever invented have not saved humanity a single minute of work. The result of the machine is not leisure, but the hunger for more machines. The only thing that can save the world is the reclaiming of the awareness of the world. That's what poetry does. I believe in using words, not fists. I believe in my outrage knowing people are living in boxes on the street. I believe in honesty. I believe in a good time. I believe in good food. I believe in sex. The universe may have a purpose, but nothing we know suggests that. If so, this purpose has any similarity to ours. Extreme hopes are born from extreme misery. Through the greatness of the universe which philosophy contemplates, the mind also is rendered great and becomes capable of that union with the universe which constitutes its highest good. Every new baby is a blind, desperate vote for survival, the urge to replenish our stock. The greatest challenge to any thinker is stating the problem in a way that will allow a solution. So far as the future can be predicted, it is obvious that for practical purposes, intelligence will render truth-speaking unnecessary. The world is full of magical things patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper. One of the most powerful of all our passions is the desire to be admired and respected. Conventional people are roused to fury by departure from convention, largely because they regard such departure as a criticism of themselves. The problem of the world is that the intelligent people are full of doubts, while the stupid ones are full of confidence. Extreme hopes are born of extreme misery, and in such a world as this, the illusion of a plan of progress is somehow necessary. Our knowledge is a little island in a great ocean of non-knowledge. No satisfaction based upon self-deception, solid, and however unpleasant the truth may be, it is better to face it once for all, to get used to it, and to proceed to build your life in accordance with it. What men want is not knowledge, but certainty. It is not what men do that is interesting, but what they want to do. One should, as a rule, respect public opinion insofar as is necessary to avoid starvation and to keep out of prison, but anything that goes beyond this is voluntary submission to an unnecessary tyranny. Most people have a passionate desire to see others converted to their own views. In this, our time resembles all times. It is not by biting bullets and squaring circles that we can hope to apply our intellect to the spiritual life, but by infinite patience, infinite gentleness, and a love which thinks no evil. We know too much and feel too little, at least. We feel too little of those creative emotions from which a good life springs. Democracy, good government, and peace are indissolubly connected, and no good government can be expected from permanently alienated subjects. To be able to concentrate for a considerable time is essential to difficult achievement. Drunkenness is temporary suicide. The happiness that it brings is merely negative, a momentary cessation of unhappiness. There are two motives for reading a book. One, that you enjoy it; the other, that you can boast about it.